Morning, YouTube. It's Easter Sunday here in Texas, so happy Easter. Today I'm gonna talk to you about a product that I recently purchased that I felt was impressive enough that I wanted to do a YouTube video about it. So what I ended up getting was a harness from a company called Monotech, which makes a harness to do a dual point to multi-point conversion on these Honda Civics. Went ahead and bought the harness, contacted him through eBay initially. He got right back to me, asked for some specifics about the way the engine is set up, sensor, so on and so forth, and I told him, I've got a DB7, basically 92 through 95 engine, fan switches on the water neck. It's not on the water neck on the 88 through 91 motors, so, a couple changes. I filled out the form, bought the harness. The harness was sent to me very quickly. Installed the harness, everything was absolutely spot on, had no issues installing it. The fitment is perfect, meaning the location of how everything is ran. And the harness also seems to be a little bit smaller than the factory, so it kind of cleans up that engine bay a lot. Another cool thing about it is it actually has a sub harness that runs into the cabin to the computer, where you would normally need to depin some of the pins. I think there's about 4 pins that you have to depin on the factory harness, and you just slide those pins right in. Super easy. So I installed this harness on this car. The intake plenum was purchased off of eBay, complete, meaning it had injectors on the rail. Everything was basically ready to go. I put a new intake gasket on it. Fired it up, car sputtered a little bit. O-rings were leaking on it, and that's a common problem with these, especially after they sit a long time. So not Monotech's problem, no big deal. I replaced the O-rings on it, started the car back up, and the car was running really bad, backfiring, popping, wouldn't idle right, blah blah blah. When I ordered this harness, I told him I'd be using the 88 through 91 CRX SI distributor, which has the round plugs, which you would normally have to depin and change over to work on this setup. So with that being said, I purchased a distributor off of eBay, which turns out to be the mpfi distributor. I think it's like 57 bucks or so. So, the car is sputtering, not running right. So when you do a swap like this, there could be tons of things wrong with it. Anything from, an injector not working to the computer, not wiring it up, which could have been my fault, so on and so forth. So during that process of the car not running correctly, I'm trying to diagnose it, and I go to pull out the spark plugs, to see if each plug is firing, so on and so forth. So the car dies. It won't start back up. I got out, tried to diagnose it, and I immediately found out that there was no fire on the spark plugs, So therefore, I bought another distributor, put another distributor in it. Car fired right up, idled fine, ran absolutely perfect. With that being said, the eBay distributors, I did not know until I had the problem that there has been some issues with these distributors. So if this is something that y'all guys are looking for, I would highly stay away from them. I know the lure of the cheap distributor is maybe too much for some. I figured, man, how can I go wrong? This distributor did not run for more than 30 minutes on this car. So, and it's a mpfi brand distributor. They're junk, guys. So the car, like I said, never ran right. Luckily, I diagnosed it really quickly, got it fixed. I did buy a distributor from like AutoZone. I put it on there, and it's smooth, no issues. But back to the harness. The harness is from Monotech. Good guy, really quick to get back with me. The transaction was easy. I believe the price for the harness was ultra fair. It was like $245. I opted for him to give me a resistor box, so everything needed. It is a honest and true plug and play harness setup. And if anybody has ever done the dual point to multi-port, I mean, it's not super difficult, but it's a little bit tedious with all the cutting, extending all the wires. This is as easy as it could possibly get. If I did not have the initial problem with the cheap distributor, this would have been a 3-hour swap. I mean, everything is It's super easy. There's no guesswork. All the plugs are right where they need to be. So with that being said, it's a great harness. He does a great job, and I highly recommend him. So guys, if you're interested in seeing anything about the Civic, I've done a lot of work to it. It doesn't look like it, but it was pretty much a basket case when I bought it. From suspension problems, engine problems, to you name it, it had it. Well, it's pretty square now. But like I said, subscribe if y'all wanna see more about this or some of my other little project cars. That's never been on YouTube yet. It kind of just sits here. So I've got other couple cars in the other garage over there. So with that being said, subscribe, and I'll do some more stuff about some of the other cars that we have here. So thank you, and have a good Easter, guys.